Hey everybody, welcome to Local Business Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Case, and I'm on a mission to help you. Every week, we're going to be talking to local business owners and experts to get their best tips, tricks, and hacks to grow your business. This show is designed to teach you, inspire you, and motivate you to take massive action and start to build your future-proof business. Whether you're just starting off or you're taking your existing business to the next level, this episode is for you. So let's get started. Hey, local business hackers. I'm your host, Director of Global Business Development for Referrizer, Carl Case, joined today by Emmanuel Verduzo, CEO and co-founder of Ageless Fitness Corporation. Emmanuel, welcome to Local Business Hacks.
No, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So I happen to know that you've spent some time in this space, but I'd love to hear from you. What got you to this point in your career?
Sure. So originally I started off out of college as a social worker. I bounced around different departments with child support, Department of Human Services, and Adult Protective Services. And this was around the time that I met my now wife. So after college, stayed in the area where I went to school out in Cal State Bakersfield. And if you know anything about Bakersfield, it's the middle of the desert in California. And so didn't really want to stay there. I'm originally from Santa Barbara, California, which is a beach town. And so, but I met her. So I decided, hey, I'm going to stick around for a little bit. But really fell in love with, working with people, meeting people, and having the opportunity to hear people out. But I was really restricted by the county job. So I really wanted to get into something where I could really be hands-on, make a difference in people's lives, and really be active. And so when I got the opportunity to move back to my hometown, I had to do a little research and see what kind of business I could move into that had that opportunity. And so I came across home care. And so that was where I started working with older adults and that demographic and that industry and fell in love with it. But our community has about 200,000 people. It's not very large. It's a beach town, as I mentioned. And I was competing with about 10 other home care agencies in my area. But even then, there's baby boomers are ever growing. We're all getting old, right? And so going out and talking to doctors, going to hospitals, doing presentations, doing sales and stuff, I realized that there was a huge need in my community for other services that were tailored to seniors. And so I moved into medical transportation and then eventually moved into what is now Ageless Fitness. And so through one of my clients who had Parkinson's, he had a fall, it broke his hip, went to the hospital, got out of the hospital, did some physical therapy at home, and then his wife tasked us with finding something that would fit into his continuity of care. And that's where we ended up founding Ageless Fitness. I met my now business partner, Julie Pollard, and she has a degree in kinesiology and now has a master's in gerontology. And so we clicked. We had the same kind of vision in continuity of care for seniors was when it came to physical therapy. We looked all over for a program like ours. I mean, there wasn't any. There's a Y, there's yogas, and there's the other fitness studios of the world, but none of them were catering to older adults, right? And so that's where we found the niche and decided that this was something that was important. And as I've researched our area and now researched the country, realized that there just isn't anything like it. There's a lot of stuff for younger adults, but there isn't anything for older adults. And so now we're here. So it's kind of evolved over time. And so really just has been about being first to market and finding the need. And it's really grown into something that we just didn't expect. So that's just kind of been the passion for helping people has led us here. So here we are.
Well, congrats on your journey, and I'm glad that you find such passion in helping others. Emmanuel, tell me about Ageless Fitness specifically. How can people get involved? What's the best place to go?
So we're what is considered an emerging brand, right? Because we only currently have 2 locations open. We've got one other in development that's going to be opening up hopefully by the end of the year in Orlando. The other one is also Southwest Florida in Estero. And then we've got our flagship location here in Santa Barbara. But we've got a lot of interest. So if people are interested in opening an Ageless Fitness and bringing this unique concept into their communities, they can go to agelessfitnessfranchise.com. And we've got all the information there. And so what's nice about Ageless Fitness is that it's a smaller investment than your typical fitness program, mostly because we're working with older adults that, again, you have physical and cognitive impairments. And so a lot of what we do is really foundational, functional. And basically, it doesn't really require much besides the experts that run the program, comfortable, friendly studios. You can see here that I'm here in our lobby and I'm in a huge kind of recliner. And so it just, our whole thing is to make it feel like you're exercising in your living room and you're not walking into a gym, because exercise is intimidating, whether it doesn't matter for who, right? You walk into the gym, you see some guys lifting big weights and you feel like you don't fit in that environment, right? And so it doesn't matter the age sometimes. So we made it so that, again, it's more welcoming, it's individualized. And basically, there's an opportunity to really start off with a single studio and then grow to, again, fit the needs of the community. So it really depends on what people are looking for.
agelessfitness.us, people. Check out the website. Get involved.
Yes.
Awesome. Emmanuel, I want to obviously make a shift over to the purpose of today's podcast, which is giving you an opportunity to share your stories that shaped your local business hacks. So please take the floor.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has made our program unique and has made my experience unique, again, my business partner and I really share the sincere desire to help people. And that's the biggest purpose behind basically all of the business that I've been a part of. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we sold our book of business in home care. We sold our transportation program. And we've decided to really focus in on Ageless Fitness because we have found that there's a huge need between having physical therapy and then not having another resource. I think that was one of the biggest things that I have found in traveling and talking to healthcare professionals is that I've gone and talked to many physical therapists and home healthcare companies and other clinics. And whenever the question comes up of where do you refer people to after physical therapy, people just don't have an answer for that. They say, we don't. We hand people a packet of exercises, we send them home with that, and we hope that they continue that. And so they're discharging people without being 100% rehabilitated, right? So that's where we've come in. And so really identifying the needs of a community of the country and of the world, right? Because, there's obesity issues, there's issues with diabetes, high blood pressure. I mean, and just not being active in general. You're not just going in and finding a business that's going to make you money, but that's what happens with building this business, right? That you're providing a very essential resource, but then also the money comes with it. Because the thing is that in healthcare, people are spending a lot of money regardless. So do you want to be reactive or proactive with your health? And so this is something that not just people that are, again, over 55 need. This is something that we all need. We all need to move. We all need to be able to bend down and tie our shoes. So this type of functional training is essential to our day-to-days. And so Ageless Fitness is really the starting point, and then you move into whatever else is fun, the yogas, the Pilates, the different programs that are out there. So essentially, we really want to make sure that we're bridging the gap between what is available and where you can go. So that's basically where I feel that every entrepreneur should be looking to fill a need, and eventually the competition will come. We're very hopeful that we'll find some competitors eventually in our space because we're first to market. So we're kind of pioneering this, and eventually we hope that there's more of it because there's enough of the pie to go around, right? There's a lot of people everywhere, and we're not a one size fits all, but as people age, we want to be able to customize our programs depending on what people are going through, because when you're 35, everyone's about the same, right? Everybody kind of has that ability to get off the couch, to hit the gym, and then grow some muscles, right? But when you're over 55, there's a spectrum. We've seen clients that are 65, they've never been off the couch, right? And then we've got 80-year-olds that are here jumping and running and doing all kinds of different things. And so again, you can't just cater to one person. And you have to identify the need of each individual. You have to identify, again, the need of the community and what you're going to be able to produce for everyone. So that's my biggest tip for any entrepreneur that's trying to start a business. And Ageless Fitness is unique. We're hoping that it evolves with time, but we're pretty happy with where we're at right now.
Keeping customers ageless.
Yes, that's what we're all about.
That's amazing. Emmanuel, when it comes to fitness, if we look at what happened during COVID and what's happening now since then, how would you say the fitness community is going to look in 5 years from now?
We were really hit from both sides with COVID because we're working with seniors and we're working with fitness. So the two biggest things that were impact during the pandemic. So luckily, we were able to move out of all these issues with some of the vaccines that came out, medications, so on and so forth, and we were able to recover. But what I did see is that the pandemic did a couple different things. It made us a little anxious of being in groups, and it left us kind of realizing that we needed to be outside more and to be more active because being stuck at home wasn't fun for a lot of people. And so that's I think with time, we're gonna transition into more activities and kind of looking into what else is out there and what's new. Because I think over time, what happens is that we get used to our routines. And so we're always looking to see what's a new product and what's a new service and what's a new trend. And what makes us, I guess, a little bit more customizable is the fact that, again, we're looking at each individual depending on their needs, right? And so we're not the cookie cutter fitness program. We try to meet people where they're at in their fitness journey. But I think that there's gonna have to be more of a need to be able to individualize things. And you appreciate the attention to detail when you go, for example, when you go into Starbucks and you grab a coffee and the barista knows your name or they know your order. And so even those little things, when it's customized to you, or when you're shopping online and they bring up everything you were looking at before, right? So I think the fitness industry kind of has to adapt the individualization of each of their clients where they can, because some people love the social aspect of going into a class or a class space, but it really depends on people. And it's always changing. People's interests are never the same, but you just kind of have to keep evolving. And so I think other companies will have to do the same.
Awesome. Thank you for that. When we speak about fitness and the category that you're in, what would you say is a common myth that you're consistently faced against?
Oh, this is a good one. No pain, no gain. That's the biggest misconception that's out there. The reality is that because we work with seniors, if we hurt them, the recovery time takes a lot more. And so the reality is that it doesn't matter whether you're exercising in a gym or a yoga studio or whatever. The pain is just your body telling you that you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be pushing it as hard. And so you can get results with doing light exercises and progressing in your exercises. And so people think that you have to go right into bench pressing 200, 300 pounds, but that's not true. And so that is really the biggest part of our program is we don't want people to hurt when they leave here. We want people to feel good physically and mentally, so that they feel empowered and encouraged to come back and continue their exercise program, right? Because Rome wasn't built in a day. So your body's just going to take time to adapt. And eventually you get to a point where you feel good and then you can do a little bit more and a little bit more. And so that's what we tell our clients, to keep encouraging them to keep coming back. And we've had lifelong clients that have been with us 1, 2, 3 years past the pandemic. That's really what we stand by.
That's awesome. Emmanuel, I want to congratulate you first for being what I believe is the first podcast guest of mine at 6:30 in the morning. And rolling right into a question that I ask a lot of go-getters, which is, what does your morning routine look like?
I wake up late. I'm not an early riser by any means. When I have appointments, I will wake up early, get right into it, go home, have my coffee, take my kids to school, and come right back to the office. So I'm more of a night owl. Once the kids are asleep and the phone's not ringing anymore, that's when I'm able to send out emails, go on Canva, do some social media stuff. And so it really is just kind of wake up and get right into it. I have just started exercising early with a group called F3. It's a really great group that has chapters all over the country. It's a free men's group, and I do that a couple times a week, and that's the only time I wake up at 5. Other than that, I will wake up between 8 and 9 as late as I can. That's my mental thing. If I can just kind of wake up naturally, it's a good day. If the alarm goes off, oh man, I'm not about it. So yeah, I'm not like your typical entrepreneur or a person that is really kind of taking advantage of the morning. I'm a night owl.
I have plenty of friends in your realm. I'm a morning person. I don't work well when it's dark out, but I greatly appreciate you sharing. Emmanuel, you talk about hitting the alarm. Real quick, for those of you that haven't hit the alarm to subscribe to Local Business Hacks Podcast, hit subscribe so you can stay tuned for all of our weekly episodes to learn about your best local business hacks. Emmanuel, going right back into it, talk to me. Are you a reader?
I do, yes.
Awesome. Talk to me about what books you're currently reading or what books you definitely recommend for entrepreneurs that have helped shape you in your career.
I really recommend Rework. I don't remember the name of the author, but you can definitely find it on Amazon. I think it's one of the first books that I read in my journey. And basically what it's about is that when it comes to starting a business, it doesn't matter how many textbooks you've read, how much experience you may have, it's a journey, right? And so it really is being out on your own and not having the paycheck and the 9 to 5 and stuff. It's an on-the-job training journey. All the things that come up as you go, the bad employees, the bad clients, all those horror stories, you learn by experience. And the book really goes into talking about just to go out there and do it and fail, and try again. And so that's, as I'm sure a lot of your guests have told you, it's part of the journey and learning how to be a better leader, how to do the little things, how to not sweat the small stuff, and so, yeah, I really like that type of book that really encourages you that there's no wrong way of doing things. And I've definitely learned that along the way. So yeah, I recommend that one.
Amazing. And Emmanuel, before we wrap up, I got to ask my favorite question. If you were going to have dinner with someone from the past, who would it be? What are you talking about? And what are you guys eating?
Oh man, I'm having dinner with Bill Gates, and we're having ribs.
Okay.
Yeah, we're having a rack of ribs smothered in barbecue, and we're talking about starting up. Because as I'm sure better than anybody that every entrepreneur has their journey. And you really, as I'm rubbing off barbecue sauce off my face, I'm asking Bill Gates what his secret sauce was. Because the thing is that you can go out there to a lot of courses and take classes about entrepreneurship, but the reality is that there is secret sauce. A lot of the material that's out there is pretty generic. And so if I knew what his secret sauce was, eventually I'll be there as well. So that's who it is. I mean, he's still around, obviously, but this was, early 90s, early 80s, right? That he was developing Microsoft. So, I mean, I'd like to go back in time and talk to him about some of the things that got him going.
That's awesome. Well, I can tell you that obviously our podcast is a great resource for you in your space to find that information. So excited to have that platform for people in the fitness space to really learn from the greats. Emmanuel, what's the best way for people to stay connected with you personally?
We're on Instagram. So I can be reached at Ageless Fitness on Instagram, or people can follow me personally at Verduzco87. And visit our website at agelessfitnessfranchise.com or our main website at agelessfitness.us. And I'm always available to help people learn more about what Ageless Fitness is all about, what we bring to different communities. And I just love helping entrepreneurs on their journey. So if anybody's interested in an Ageless Fitness, they're gonna talk to me directly. So we're gonna help people grow.
Amazing. Emmanuel, thank you for coming on and doing what you're doing in this community. Keep it up. And we're beyond excited over here at Referrizer and our listeners all over the world to follow you in your journey.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And definitely look forward to being on the show again and having more to tell.
Amazing. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to head over to our site, local-business-hacks.com, to check out the show notes and send me questions or ideas for future episodes. If you want to grow your business, just like the people you've heard from here, follow Local Business Hacks Podcast and tune in for new tips, tricks, and tactics. Until next time, thanks for listening and keep hacking.